No, no, please, not yet. Amara stood in her lavish bedroom, surrounded by silk curtains and gold-trimmed mirrors, trembling. Suddenly, the glass began to crack. The mirror shattered and her reflection transformed. It showed her true face, scarred, aged, and unrecognizable. She screamed. They say every woman has a price. For Amara, it was her face. For 7 years, she had been the most desired woman in 3 kingdoms. Men killed for her attention. Women wept at her beauty. But tonight, the debt came due. And what the mirror revealed would destroy everything she had built on a lie. As she collapsed sobbing, she whispered to the empty room, "I should have died in that fire with her." 7 years earlier, in the village of Nkwo, there was a girl named Amara. She wasn't poor and she wasn't cursed. She was simply unseen. And in a world where a woman's worth is measured by her face, being unseen is the cruelest curse of all. Amara used to pray to be beautiful. She would watch the other girls, how men's eyes followed them like sunlight, and how mothers smiled when they passed. She would touch her scars in the dark and wonder if her mother had saved her face instead of her life. Would she have been worth loving? At the village well, the women were merciless. Ngozi would whisper loud enough for Amara to hear, mocking how she walked with her head down, as if the ground would swallow her shame. Ada would boast about her daughter's marriage proposals, while Obioma would cackle, saying it was a waste that Amara's mother died in that fire. She should have saved herself. They laughed and left the ugly one to burn. Amara's hands would tremble. Once, a pot slipped and shattered at her feet. "Can't even hold her own work," Ngozi mocked. This is why no man wants her clumsy hands, clumsy face. As Amara knelt to pick up the pieces, her silent tears fell into the dust. Their words didn't hurt anymore. She had heard them so many times, they became like the buzzing of flies around rotting fruit. But what hurt was knowing they weren't wrong. In Nkwo, a woman's worth was decided at the well, and every day Amara was reminded that hers was nothing. The clay was cool and wet between her fingers. It was the only thing that never judged her. She could shape it into anything: beautiful bowls, elegant vases, but she couldn't shape herself into someone worth keeping. She lived day after day, invisible, until the day someone finally saw her. If you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. A man named Tobena approached her stall. He had kind eyes and wore the simple clothes of a farmer. He picked up one of her pots and asked the price. 2 cowries, she said, not looking up. "That's too cheap for something this beautiful," he replied. Amara looked up, shocked. He wasn't just looking at the pot, he was looking at her. "You have artist hands," he smiled gently. "Strong, patient, that's rare." That was the day Amara learned something dangerous: hope. And hope, for a girl like her, was more poisonous than hate. Weeks turned to months. Tobena visited her stall every market day, bringing her palm wine and making her laugh. He even taught her to dance in the rain. Amara kept waiting for the trick, the moment he would laugh and say it was all a joke. But he kept coming back. Not for the pots, but for her. One evening, under a mango tree as the sun set, Tobena took her hands and said, "Amara, I want to marry you." The silence was heavy. Amara stared at him, disbelieving. "You've seen my face," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You've seen my scars. Why would you?" "I see a woman who makes beauty from mud," he interrupted firmly. "I see someone who deserves to be loved, not in spite of who she is, but because of who she is." Amara wanted to believe him so badly it hurt. But when you've lived your life as the girl no one chose, you start to wonder if kindness is just cruelty in disguise. What if you wake up one day and regret it? She asked through her tears. Tobena smiled gently. Then I'll close my eyes and remember this moment. The moment I saw you cry and wanted to spend my life making sure you never cry alone again. They married in a small ceremony. No dowry, no fanfare, just two people choosing each other. For 6 months, Amara was happy. They had a small farm. He sang while he worked, and she made the pots he sold in the neighboring villages. They were poor, but they were enough. And then, the collapse. 6 months after their wedding night, Tobena gasped, clutching his chest. "Amara, I can't breathe." At dawn, the village healer examined him and shook her head. His heart was failing. He had a year, maybe less. The only hope was a white doctor in the city, but the cost was a fortune they didn't have. Amara stumbled outside and fell to her knees in the dirt. The universe had finally given her something good, and now it was taking it back. Desperation makes monsters of us all. That night, Amara went looking for one. She wandered into the forbidden forest of Ajala, a place that only appears to those with nothing left to lose. She found a hut made of bones and black wood. Inside, a witch was stirring a bubbling pot. Another desperate girl. The witch said, "Bored. Let me guess. Your husband is dying. You want a miracle. What makes you think you deserve saving?" "I don't," Amara cried. "But he does. He married me when no one else." The witch laughed, a cold, mocking sound. The ugly girl found a blind man, and now she wants magic to keep him. You don't want to save him, child. You want to keep him. There's a difference. But the witch offered a deal. You want his life? Trade yours. You want beauty? Trade truth. This mask will give you everything, but the moment he sees your real face, he dies. Slowly, painfully, his heart will stop, and he will die remembering that the woman he loved was a lie. The witch tossed a wooden mask at Amara's feet. It was cold and smelled of earth and old blood. It pulsed in her hands like a living heart. "Pick it up or don't," the witch grinned. "Either way, I win." Amara held the mask to her face. It latched onto her skin like a parasite. She screamed as it was absorbed. When she looked into a puddle, her reflection was stunning. Flawless skin, eyes like stars, lips perfect. They always choose the mask. The witch cackled as Amara ran. Amara's new face opened every door. In the city, a wealthy merchant gave her gold just for a smile. She bought the medicine and returned home. When Tobena woke, he was confused. "Who are you?" he asked weakly. "It's me, Amara," she lied. "The healer gave me herbs for my scars. They're working." Tobena was suspicious, but he drank the medicine. He recovered, growing strong and healthy, but he looked at her differently now with desire, but no recognition. She had saved his life, but she had lost his heart. 3 years passed. Amara's beauty brought wealth. They lived in a grand house, but something was broken. At the village well, the old gossips watched her. "That cannot be the same girl," Ngozi whispered. "Something is not natural. It's juju." Her husband looks bewitched. They would smile to her face, but the moment she turned away, they whispered one word: witch. Amara had traded her scars for beauty, but she couldn't trade away their judgments. She felt like a ghost wearing someone else's skin. One night in their bedroom, Tobena reached to touch her face, and she flinched. 3 years, he said, his voice raw with pain. "And you still won't let me touch your face. You're beautiful, but you feel like a statue. Cold, perfect, untouchable. Where is the girl who burned her hands making pots? Where is my wife? You're someone else wearing her name. I don't know how to love a stranger." He left the room, leaving Amara alone with her reflection. She had saved his life, but killed the woman he loved. Suddenly, the witch appeared in the garden, eating an apple. In 7 days, the witch grinned. "He won't remember you at all. Not your name, not your wedding. He'll love this thing you've become, but the girl he married will be erased forever." "How do I stop it?" Amara cried. Take off the mask, the witch replied. Show him your true face. Let's see if his love was ever real, or if he's just like all the others. Amara began to test his memory. He remembered the wedding, but he didn't remember the mango tree. He didn't even remember that she used to make pots. She was being erased day by day. Standing before her mirror, her reflection changed. She saw her true scarred face. If I take this off, he dies, she told the mirror. If I keep it on, I die. Her reflection answered in her own real voice. Do you love him enough to let him see you? All of you? Maybe the witch lied. Maybe what he needs isn't a beautiful wife. Maybe he just needs you. At dawn, Amara found Tobena in the garden. I need to tell you something, she said, her voice trembling. I lied to you. When you were dying, I went to a witch. She gave me this face, this perfect fake face, because I thought if I was beautiful, I could save you. But I was wrong. The real me is still here, under all this. She reached up and began to peel the mask away. Black liquid dripped as it disintegrated into ash. Her true, scarred face returned. If you can't love her, I understand, she sobbed. Tobena gasped and stumbled back, clutching his chest. Amara screamed, thinking she had killed him. But he steadied himself. He looked at her, tears streaming down his face. It's you, he whispered. It's really you. I thought I'd lost you. For 3 years, I looked at that beautiful stranger and wondered where my wife had gone. And now, you're back. Amara was confused. But the witch said, I don't care what she said. Tobena laughed through his tears. This is the face I fell in love with. These scars, these hands, this is my wife. The witch had lied. The only thing that could kill Tobena was living with a lie. The moment Amara chose the truth, the curse lost its power. When they walked to the village well later that morning, the gossips were stunned. What happened to her face? They cried. She's ugly again. But Tobena leaned down and kissed Amara's forehead. He turned to the women and said, I never married her face. I married her soul. And that, unlike beauty, never fades. The women fell silent, shamed. The village learned that beauty fades and wealth crumbles. But real love sees what the eyes cannot. It sees scars and calls them stories. Years later, sitting under the same mango tree, Amara knew that beauty is the easiest lie to tell and the hardest truth to live without. Love doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. He's been gang and the 17th. If you've ever felt invisible, know this. The right person won't need a mask to see you. They'll see you in the dark, in the mess, and in the scars. And they'll stay, not because you're beautiful, but because you're you. And that is enough. They still gossip about her at the well. They say she's a witch or that her husband is a fool. But Amara doesn't care, because the only voice that matters is the one that calls her by her real name and loves her anyway. Would you have taken off the mask, even if it meant losing everything? Tell me in the comments, because your story deserves to be seen too.